Alrighty, hello everybody. We will be engaging in a slow flow today. That is a slow moving yoga class. We're going to focus on certain poses. We're just going to go for an overall fluid flow, keeping everything comfortable, constantly checking in with our bodies and our breath. So, my name's Chloe, if you haven't had class with me before. Hi, nice to meet you. I am here every Friday at 7 p.m. I'm a little bit nervous. Okay, so moving on. If you like, I'm really nervous. Okay, I'm going to count down from 3, and I'm just going to begin again, okay? 3, 2, 1, back. I'm back with you. Okay, so find yourself in a comfortable seated position, whatever that may be, wherever on your mat. And just begin to notice your breath. All right? Let your bones settle into the floor. Roll your shoulders back, moving those shoulder blades, melting them down toward the floor a little bit. Letting those shoulders be slightly heavy, but your head and neck tall. As though we're beginning to float up into the air. And your shoulders, your lower half is just sinking into the ground. We're going to keep our gaze soft. We'll close our eyes. Either way, starting to focus on where our breath is at, and where our body is at. Where does your breath travel as you inhale? Where do you feel it as you exhale? Breathe deeply through your nose, expanding your rib cage, expanding your lungs. At the top of each inhale, hold your breath for just a moment before slowly, just as gradually, just as gently exhaling out your nose or your mouth. Keeping the breath constant, consistent. On an inhale, we're going to rise our hands upward toward the sky, fingers stretching, still melting the shoulders down a little bit, but reaching with our fingertips. And on the exhale, we're going to bring our hands to center, pressing our palms into each other. Crown of the head rising toward the sky. We feel centered and focused. Breathing here, just for a second. Find your intention for this upcoming practice. We'll take one beautiful inhale here, pressing into our palms. And exhale all the way out. Let it out. Moving on to our backs. Just gently, very carefully. Coming to your sits bones and then slowly, gradually letting yourself drip all the way on down to the floor. Legs stretching out for a moment. Once again, we're going to just find our center here in the present moment. Just coming to terms, coming to awareness of our physicality here in the present moment, not in the past, not in the future, just right here, right now with yourself. All right, so we're going to bring our feet together in Supta Baddha Konasana. So that's supine butterfly. Bringing the soles of our feet together, letting the knees splay out to either side of the mat. And just breathing here. Pressing the soles of the feet against each other. And noticing where your bones rest on the floor. Can you roll your shoulders back a little bit, sort of just pinning the shoulder blades underneath you just slightly? Does that allow the back of your neck to stretch just a little bit more? Press those feet into each other. Knock the knees to either side, just gently, just opening up. We're going to take one just totally conscious inhale here, just feeling exactly where your body is at right now. Inhale through the nose, feel it traveling through the back of your throat into your body. Holding for a moment and exhale, letting it all out. Bringing the knees up, planting the feet hip distance apart. We're gonna keep our shoulders a little bit tucked right here, pressing our palms into the mat a little bit. We're gonna just do sort of a baby bridge. We're not gonna lift our hips at all. We're just gonna stay right here, gently pressing into the soles of our feet, and just kind of curve our lower backs against the mat a little bit more. It's a very small movement, but very, very engaging. On the inhale, sort of reset. And on the exhale, cinch your stomach muscles together, press your lower back against the floor. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, pressing your lower back against the floor. Inhale, reset. Exhale, pressing your lower back, pressing the soles of your feet, pressing your palms against the mat. Just warming everything up. Move through 2 more rounds of that on your own. Just communicating with yourself, warming up everything. And then we're going to take the right leg, extending it out. Going to point the toe a little bit, maybe bend the leg, spread the toes apart. Just wake it up generally. And then we're going to cross that leg over our left thigh, coming into a supine half pigeon pose. So what we're going to do here is reach in between our legs and grab the back of the left thigh. Just gently pressing our legs toward our chest here, pressing our lower back into the mat, keeping our left leg at a sort of 90 degree and opening up that hip a little bit, keeping it gentle and light. You want to still be able to like flex and point the right foot. We don't want anything hurting. If you want to explore this pose a little bit more, you can straighten your left leg and begin to grab at the shin or the calf or the foot. And this might feel really nice if you have open hips, or you might just want to stay right here and just hang out, rocking back and forth, massaging your lower back. And then planting the left foot on the ground. Slowly bringing back your right leg, hugging it in for a moment, and then stretching that left leg out on the ground, extending it long, pointing the toes, delighting in it. We're going to move that right knee over to our armpit, just opening up the hip a little bit. And from here, we're going to take on a half happy baby. Again, you might just want to stay here with your legs just bent like so, maybe playing around with straightening the leg, or you might want to come into your half happy baby, bringing the sole of your foot to the ceiling, grabbing the inside of the foot or the outside, and just gently playing around with this hip opener. Either way, moving the knee a little bit, exploring your hip bones, rocking left and right, opening everything up, playing with that foot to hand connection if you're in happy baby, or either way, just pressing into your hands a little bit. We'll come to center, hug our knee in, and then twist it on over, crossing over to the left side of our bodies. We're gonna let that knee rest on the floor and stretch our right arm, arc it over for a gentle twist. Breathing into this twist. Finding that breath traveling along the back of your throat. Looking over your shoulder. And coming back to center very gently, pressing against the floor. And we'll come back to that sort of bridge pose situation. Our shoulders are pinned against the floor a little bit, pressing our lower back into the floor. We're feeling focused and calm. Then we want to lift our left leg. At first, just rolling the ankle, pointing the toes, stretching the toes apart, opening everything up. And when you're ready, crossing the ankle over the top of right thigh, stretching that knee apart, opening up. And then lifting that right leg, maybe just a little bit. Maybe you straighten that leg. Maybe you just stay right here, working on opening up that knee. Taking a moment here, rocking back and forth, pointing your toes, stretching that knee apart, and then letting the right foot come to the ground gently. We're unraveling our left leg. We're kicking that right leg all the way out, resting it on the floor. We're hugging our left knee in, bringing it around to our armpit, opening up the hip a little bit. We're playing around with that, or we're grabbing the inside of the foot and playing around with a half-happy baby. Rocking back and forth, still just working on warming everything up, paying more and more attention to all of your body parts. And when you're ready, hugging the left knee in and crossing it over, letting your right hand rest on the outside of that knee before stretching over with your left arm. Looking over that arm. Breathing into that gentle, lovely twist. And then we come back to center. Take a nice, beautiful inhale here. And on the exhale, you're going to press your lower back into the mat again. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, pressing your lower back into the mat. Begin to bring your knees up and then just straighten your legs into a sort of candle pose. We're just going to swim around with that for a little bit. We're going to inhale our legs up in the candle. Exhale, bring them all the way down and then scoot them right back in, right up to your chest. Okay, so inhale, prepare. Exhale, legs up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, scooping them right back in. Inhale, up. Exhale, all the way down. Inhale, back to center. Now we're going to get a little bit playful with it. So we're going to straighten our legs in candle and kind of go through that same movement, but we're going to begin to press into our palms and kind of exaggerate that movement. So we're getting a bit of rock and roll happening. So ideally you want to press into your palms just a little bit And just begin to kind of rock your whole body with this leg lift. Just massaging your back. Grabbing the backs of your thighs. And just kicking your legs. Massaging your spine. Crossing your ankles when you're ready to get a bit of momentum to move into tabletop position. All right, so we're in tabletop. Our hands are underneath our shoulders. Our knees are underneath our hips. And we're pressing evenly with our shins and our palms into the mat. Keeping our back pretty straight. The back of our head, the back of our neck is long. We're pressing the sides of our fingers into the mat. We're feeling good. On an inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, lift the tailbone, cow pose. And exhale, cat pose, curving the other direction. Imagining the top of your head and your tailbone are very, very heavy. Letting your middle part be buoyant and warm. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. We want to just move with our own breath here. Looking over our shoulders. Exploring all the ways we can warm our body up with these poses. Exhale, cat. Moving the hips from side to side. Until finally you feel warmed up enough. When you return to neutral, we're going to start to press our shins into the floor. We're preparing for a knee hover here. But if you feel uncomfortable pressing the tops of your feet and your shins against the floor, you can always tuck your toes and lift your knees that way. But okay, so reset, we're in tabletop. You know your two options. We're going to, just for a couple of seconds, hover our knees just a couple inches off the ground, pressing the sides of our fingers into the ground, cinching our stomach muscles together, just feeling engaged, pressing away from the floor, straightening our backs. We're going to take one more inhale here. Exhale, lower. Move through one round of cat and cow. Exhale. We're going to lift the right leg, stretching it behind us. We're going to start to bring that right knee alongside our right side. Just opening up the hip a little bit. Also known as a sort of fire hydrant pose. We're going to, like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. It's not very classy looking. But so inhale, we're stretching our leg long. Exhale, bring that knee over to the side. Take the weight out of your arms. We're just focusing on our legs here. Kicking it back. We're going to swoop that knee around one more time, opening up the hip just a little bit. And then resting it back on the ground, moving through a round of cat and cow. Before stretching our left leg behind us, pointing the toe, flexing the foot. We're going to start to bring that left knee around our left side, opening up the hip, kicking it back. Just moving with your breath. Exhale, open up the hip. Inhale, stretch that leg out. And back to tabletop. Gonna move through one more round of cat and cow. Coming to neutral. Inhale, we're gonna lift our right arm, preparing to thread the needle. On the exhale, moving that arm underneath the left, resting the right shoulder on the ground, and lifting up the left arm. Wrapping it around our sides for a bind, or stretching it out in front of us. Taking a moment to just breathe into the gravity of this situation. Letting gravity take care of your shoulder, giving it a moment. Just constantly breathing into that gentle twist. Looking over your shoulder, or just keeping your gaze soft. Just feeling where your body is at. Planting your left palm, pressing against the mat. You're going to press up and slowly bring our right arm out from under us, stretching it up toward the sky and coming back to tabletop. On an inhale, lifting our left arm, stretching it up, expanding our chests. Exhale, we're going to thread the needle again, bringing it through and under our right arm, resting the left shoulder on the ground, and wrapping our arms, or letting the arms stretch out in front of us, keeping the hips over the knees. Just letting gravity do its work here. Pressing the right palm against the mat. We're going to press that right arm straight and guide that left arm all the way back up, stretching toward the sky. Exhale. Back to tabletop. We're going to move the hands to the front of our mats, sort of 1.5 foot in front of us. We're just going to stretch out briefly into puppy pose. Hips over knees, head resting on the floor, shoulders, chest expanding, opening up the side body. Just breathing. One more inhale here, expanding the ribs apart. On the exhale, begin to gingerly just walk your fingertips toward your knees. We're gonna sort of stand up on our knees here. You can tuck your toes if that's more comfortable. Either way, our hips are over our knees, our shoulders are over our hips. We're rolling the shoulders back. We're in a sort of kneeling mountain pose here. On an inhale, we're going to swoop our arms up, making sure there's air in between our shoulders and our earlobes. Feeling strong and buoyant. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, hands up, streaming upward again. Exhale, bring your hands behind you. So there are a number of different things you can do here. We're not going to do camel yet. We're just going to sort of do a gentle camel, whereby we either clasp our hands together behind us, rolling our shoulders back first, and just opening up the chest, cinching the leg muscles together, opening up the chest and the hips a little bit, and just staying straight and strong. Opening up here, or you can press into your lower back in order to move your hips up just a little bit more. We just want to keep it a gentle, warm movement for right now. Every inhale, stretching into it a little bit, and every exhale, releasing into it a little bit. If you had your hands along your lower back, clasp your hands behind you instead. Inhaling the head up, letting the collarbones be a little bit heavy here. And on the exhale, we're going to bring those clasped hands behind us over to our right hip, letting those hands rest along our side. Our hips are still pretty forward or straight and true. The crown of our head is headed up toward the sky. And we have our hands by our right hip here. We're inhaling everything straight, and on the exhale, we're going to lean our head over to the right. Breathing into a gentle neck stretch. Gently rocking the head left and right just a little bit. Rolling those shoulders back. Just letting the neck breathe. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, center. Rolling the shoulders back. We're going to move those hands to our left hip. Inhaling everything center and straight, high up. And on the exhale, letting our body slant over to the left. Breathing into that neck, rolling our shoulders back. We're just going to be here another second. Sending oxygen to your neck parts, to your shoulder parts. And back to center. Inhaling the arms up into a mountain pose. And exhale, begin to lower the hips, placing the hands in front of you, coming to a gentle puppy just for a moment again. Hips over knees, we're stretching the shoulders a little bit. And when you're ready, plant your hands underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes, and press yourself up into that inverted V, downward facing dog. Pedaling it out, stretching out one leg and then the other. Pressing the finger pads into the mat, allowing everything to just open up here. You're hinged at the hips. You're pressing against the mat with both the soles of your feet and your hands to lift those hips just a little bit higher. Letting your head hang in between your arms. We're going to inhale everything up. And exhale, bring your knees down to the floor. Bringing them together, just down center. And then we're going to move over into a kneeling plank. Shoulders over our palms, over our wrists. We're going to lower halfway, keeping the elbows in. And then press into the tops of our feet, straightening the arms, curving the chest up, upward facing dog. Exhale, gently tuck those toes, come to plank and hinge, pushing yourself back to downward facing dog. Holding here for a moment. We're just waking the body up, keeping everything warm. We're going to inhale the hips up, and then the exhale, doing that again. We'll bring our knees to the ground, shifting our shoulders over our wrists. Lowering halfway on the exhale. Inhale, pressing the tops of the feet against the floor, lifting up, upward facing dog. Your knees are not on the floor, your legs are engaged, everything is lifted and curved. Your collarbones are open. And on the exhale, shifting those hips up, tucking the toes, plank pose, and fold into downward facing dog. Pedaling it out, lifting your toes, bending one leg and then the other. We're going to inhale our hips up one more time. On the exhale, we're going to watch our feet gently travel to the tops of our mats into a ragdoll pose. Feet are hip distance apart. Our legs are bent a little bit. We're grabbing our elbows. We're letting our head be heavy. It doesn't matter how much your legs are bending here. You're just opening up the lower back, letting blood rush to the head, checking out our feet and our toes, giving them some love. On the inhale, bending the left. On the inhale, we're going to move to halfway lift, pressing against the shins or the floor to roll our shoulders back. Give a little oxygen to the spine, straightening the back as though in tabletop. And exhale, forward fold. Even in forward fold, your legs do not need to be totally straight, however. You want to keep everything comfortable here. We're going to inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms swinging up, mountain pose. Exhale, hands to heart center. And as we come down, we're going to move to chair very briefly, hovering those hips, making sure the knees aren't over the toes. Our torso is open. We're expanding our upper parts, reaching for the sky with either the top of our head or our hands. And our lower half is just totally heavy. So that's chair pose for you. On the inhale, we're going to swoop up, straightening those legs back to mountain pose. Exhale, hands to heart center. As your hands fall, we're going to come to a baby chair. Inhaling up, mountain pose, shooting upward again. And exhale, hands to heart center. Coming to chair pose again. I'm going to take one inhale here. Exhale, forward fold. Letting the top of the head fall. Going to bend the left leg. Planting the left hand in between our feet and raising the right arm into a gentle twist. Lifting the toes, making sure our legs are engaged. Exhale, down to forward fold. Letting the head fall for a moment. Then we're going to bend the right leg, straightening the left leg. Planting the right hand in between our feet. We're going to reach the left arm up toward the sky. And just enjoy this nice expansion. Breathing into our legs. Lifting up our toes again, making sure everything's engaged. Exhale, back to forward fold. Bending both legs, making sure everything is loosey-goosey. We're going to inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Now, we want to bend the knees a little bit here. On the inhale, we're going to move to mountain. But this time, we're going to lift our right leg with us. So on the inhale, we're going to shift our weight over to our left foot. Start to raise our right leg, coming into a one-legged mountain. That knee can be bent. Maybe it should be. And we're just finding our sense of balance here. Trying to straighten the hips. Find the four corners of our feet, lifting up the toes. Shooting the arch of the foot up. Finding our roots for the floor. Or lifting our arms back up. Stretching for the sky. We'll inhale everything up. And on the exhale, we're going to begin to bring our hands to heart center and come into a one-legged chair pose just for a moment. Looking behind us, we're going to plant that right leg somewhere behind us, preparing for a lunge. So find that spot for yourself. Legs should be about hip distance apart. We're going to set that right knee on the ground and just come into a gentle crescent lunge here. Opening up our chest, lifting our arms. Our shoulders are over our hips. Our hips are pretty even. We're bringing that back hip up. We're trying to stretch our legs in opposite directions, evening out. Our chest is open and expansive. One beautiful inhale here, and on the exhale, half splits. We're going to start to straighten that front leg, bringing our hips back, peeling that foot off the floor. And we're going to stretch out over this leg, resting our fingertips on the ground or grabbing our foot. Either way, just appreciating this nice hamstring stretch and trying to stretch from your lower back, giving it a little bit of love. Slowly pressing into the sole of your foot as you come back to your crescent lunge. Inhaling up, exhale, half splits, letting everything out. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, splits. Pointing the toes, stretching the toes apart. You can plant your right hand and open up here, stretching out your left arm. Taking one more breath wherever you're at. And on the exhale, slowly pressing into that foot, lifting up that back leg, beginning to move on those back toes, just kind of rocking back and forth on your feet, preparing to move gracefully-ish back toward the top of your mat. Inhale, prepare. You're putting some weight in your fingertips here. This is nice and easy. It's warming. Okay, so inhale, prepare. Exhale, forward fold. Letting your head drop. Bending one leg and then the other. Letting everything reset. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Give a little bend to your knees. And as we rise up in mountain pose, we're going to start to shift our weight to our right foot, lifting up our left leg. Just reaching for the sky. Inhale, preparing. Finding an evenness, finding stability. Shifting those hips. Finding that straight strength from mountain pose. Inhale, everything up toward the sky. And on the exhale, you're going to start to bring those hands to heart center and come into a one-legged chair. Just for a moment, you don't have to be here long. You're going to look behind us, stretch out that left leg, plant it, find a good spot for a lunge, and then set that knee on the floor. Untucking the toe if you wish. You inhale the arms up, crescent lunge. Exhale, half splits. Stretching over your leg. Peeling those toes up. Noticing how you feel on this side versus the other side. And exhale, pressing into that foot. Slowly opening up again into crescent lunge. Peeling back. And take one inhale here. Exhale, cactus the arms out. Elbows out to either side. We're just opening up the chest a little bit. Before letting the arms fall, plant gracefully to the side of your feet. And exhale, half splits again. Spreading the toes apart, pointing the toes. Inhale, pressing the right foot into the floor, lifting the arms, lunge. Exhale, swoop those arms back and find your own half splits. Letting your body drape over your leg. If you like, you can plant your left hand under your face, pressing against the mat and lifting up that right arm toward the sky. Before bringing that palm back to the floor, pressing into your front foot, lifting that back leg, pulsing just a little bit, forward and backward, preparing to move back to forward fold. Make it a little more energetic this time. Try to engage your stomach muscles. We're going to inhale, prepare. And on the exhale, coming to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, rolling those shoulders back. Make sure your neck can breathe. Exhale, hinging at the hips. Delighting in forward fold for a moment before bending the knees and planting the palms. Moving into either plank pose or modified plank on your knees as I showed you. Either way, moving through your own vinyasa. So lowering halfway, keeping your elbows in, keeping strong. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Pedaling it out, bending one knee and then the other. I'm going to breathe here for a moment. Inhaling everything into our lungs, spiraling the ribs apart, pressing those finger pads into the floor. You are totally here. You are totally present. We'll take one more inhale here. And on the exhale, we're going to begin to move to our fingertips and walk our fingers toward the back of our mats. Coming into a forward fold back here. Letting the head drop for a moment. You can stay here in a forward fold for a moment. Or you can grab your big toes with your peace fingers, bending your knees as much as you like. Or step on your palms, also bending your knees as much as you like. Coming into gorilla pose. Forward fold or gorilla pose. Focus on the weight of your head. Focus on your breath. How clarifying it is to just focus on your breath and on your physical self. Just right here in this simple moment. We're going to inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rising upward. Scooping the arms up, mountain pose. Exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to start to shift our weight to our left foot. Finding the four corners of our feet. Our arch is strong. We're feeling strong in our leg. Our hips are pretty even. We're going to kickstand our right foot to the side, preparing for tree pose. So, once you're ready, move the sole of your foot to either your shin, like your calf, or moving with your hands, the sole of your foot to your thigh, your inner thigh. Just make sure to not have your foot on your knee. Wherever you're at, just gonna spiral the knee away from us. And just keep everything flat. as if we were on a 2D plane. It's just a gentle hip opener, but there's a lot of balance play to be had here. If you fall out of this, don't worry. That's actually part of the fun. So inhale our arms up. We're just going to experiment with letting our gaze be kind of soft, or even closing our eyes. And I recommend that everyone try closing their eyes, because it's quite difficult. And you have to just take in your communication with your body, real time, up close. Wherever you're at, trying to bring your breath to your balance, as though with deeper breath, you could find a more stable balance. When you're ready or not, we're going to come out of it pretty gently, or not gently. Balance is difficult. I'm just going to keep that right leg raised a little bit, keeping it at a 90-degree angle, or hugging it toward our person. With our left hand, we're going to grab the outside of the knee and just open up to a gentle twist, stretching our right arm out behind us. Still finding that balance in our left foot, but looking over our right shoulder and trying to find a stillness here too. Fingers stretching apart, breathing into that twist in the lower back. And gently coming back to center. Setting both feet on the floor, knocking your knees a little bit, keeping everything even. We're going to bring that right leg back up and place it about 3 feet in front of us. You can point the toe if you wish. That I feel like I have more direction that way. You're going to bend your left leg a little bit. We're just going to plant that right foot. It's just kind of in front of our right hip, just about 3 feet. We're going to angle our back leg, our back foot at a 45-degree angle. Maybe bring it in a little bit more. Our heels are aligned about. We're going to straighten our front leg and prepare for pyramid pose. So our hips are square. We're lifting our toes. We're finding a stable point here. We're going to lift our arms up toward the sky and exhale, folding at the hips. Reaching over before letting our hands fall to the ground. Breathing into that lower back. Breathing into your hamstrings. Inhale, halfway lift, pressing against your shin or your thigh. Giving a little bit of love to your back. Exhale, fold a little bit more deeply over your leg, letting your head fall. And then when you're ready, giving a little bit of bend to that front leg, lifting those arms up, coming back up all the way. And gently, gently stepping back to the back of your mat. Bringing your hands to heart center. We're going to find the four corners of our right foot, kickstanding the left foot along our right leg. Preparing for tree pose on this side. Spiraling the knee outward. Finding our sense of center. And closing our eyes. And keeping our gaze soft. Lifting our toes. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, We're going to come out of that. And with our right hand, grab the outside of that knee. Stretching the left arm behind us. Ooh. Looking over our left shoulder. Stretching, stretching, stretching. And then back to center. Bringing your hands to heart center or to your hips. You're going to lift that left leg and plant it about 3 feet ahead of us. Preparing for pyramid pose on this side, angling the back foot at a 45. Making sure the heels are about aligned. We're straightening that front leg. Shoulders are over our hips. We're reaching up toward the sky. Then folding at the hips. Chest is out and strong, open. And we're just folding over that front leg. Reaching for the floor or the leg itself. Keeping both legs strong, pressing into that back leg. We're going to inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Letting your head fall. Giving a little bit of bend to that front foot. We're going to slowly rise our torso on up. And then gently place that leg back by the right foot toward the bottom of our mat. Wiggling it out a little bit, finding your neutral. We're going to come to a seated position on the mat. Feet are on either side, about hip distance apart. We're rocking on our sits bones a little bit. We're reaching our arms up and over, curving our back a little bit. On the exhale, we're going to slowly release ourselves down to the ground. Letting our hands rest on our bellies. We're going to find again for just a couple moments that baby bridge. We might turn it into an actual bridge though, fully grown. Going to inhale center. Exhale, pressing that lower back into the floor. Inhale center. Exhale, pressing that lower back into the floor. Inhale center. Exhale, pressing the lower back into the floor. We're going to peel the tailbone up. Begin to lift the hips, pressing our hands against the mat, engaging our butt, opening up those hips, pressing into our feet. Just lifting up the hips as high and buoyant as possible. Keeping everything totally engaged for one more breath. And then gently rolling yourself back all the way down to the ground. Hugging your knees in. Rocking back and forth a little bit. We're going to bring our arms out to a T. And we'll let those knees fall over to the left. Looking over our right shoulder. We're pressing our palms into the floor. Engaging our stomach just a little bit to come back to center. And letting those legs drop off to the right side. Looking over our left arm. Then pressing the palms of our hands against the floor in order to bring those knees back to center. I'm going to take one more final hug. Coming into a little ball. Hugging ourselves as completely as possible. Rocking back and forth. I'm going to take one inhale here. And on the exhale, expand out in any direction. Stretching those fingertips, stretching those toes. Rolling ankles and wrists, just exploding outward. Taking on whatever little movement you need before corpse pose. And corpse pose can look however you want it to look. For me today, it looks like this. But this is the best part, where we can just rest on the floor and notice all the energy and excitement that is happening in our bodies still. How much deeper our breath is. Take these last few minutes to focus only on your breath. Literally everything else is a distraction. Or just your breath. Expanding and releasing inside this body. It's okay if you think of other things, but just push them aside when they come. Just notice and appreciate your breath subsiding, calming down. When you're ready, begin to twitch at the edges of yourself, maybe even at your sides. Noticing those little hairs. Noticing yourself beginning to introduce movement to your body again. The very periphery. Just delighting in the small movements, rolling the joints around a little bit. I'm going to take one full body stretch here again, but this time make it slow and luxurious, almost like a stretch. It's just morning in my mind. And on the exhale, we're going to roll to the fetal position on either our right or left side. Resting our head along our bicep, bringing our knees up, and just taking a moment to be affectionate with ourselves, to feel playful and gentle. I like to kind of tuck my hair behind my ears a little bit here. But even if it's just resting your hands on the outside of your thigh and just noticing that, it's good to give yourself some gesture of affection here. Appreciating all that your body does. Planting your top palm against the floor, we're going to press ourselves up lovingly and gently into a comfortable seated position. Finding our sits bones. Inhaling the arms up toward the sky. And letting our hands rest at heart center. Feeling focused and grateful. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. I hope to see you next week at 7 p.m. Either way, it's been great. I wish you all the best. Namaste. And I hear there is also swing dancing at Ad Rock every week Friday at 6 p.m. So if you haven't checked that out, please do. It's on the Adventure Rock website. I'm kind of bummed I missed it today, but I was working on this flow. If there are any poses or anything you want to especially be working on, please let me know in the comments. I would love to deepen my practice and assist you more. I think that's it from me, though. There's yoga at 11 a.m. tomorrow. I hope you have a lovely rest of your night, and do take care of yourselves. Good night.